Welcome to another OPUS Projektor training video. In this video I want to show you the new DBC Import feature and how to use it. So let's get started. We go to Communication, Import and Import DBC file. Now the dialog has two steps. In the first step we absolutely first have to select a CAN protocol. I already created a CAN freestyle protocol in this project, so I'm going to choose that and then I select a file. Now at this point the DBC file is already parsed, and I want to mention that you should always validate a file in vector before you try to import it here. Saves you a lot of trouble. We try to make it the import functionality as robust as possible, but you can create horrible errors in these files. They are just text files, and we cannot guarantee to be able to handle all possible errors that can be in such files. So first validate it in vector, and then we are pretty sure that the import will also work here in the OPUS Projektor. So the file has been parsed, and now in the first step I can select, or I can choose what happens with defined ECUs in this DBC file. So there's one ECU here, and now I have three possibilities. The first one is I just click Next. This means that the ECU will be mapped to the first ECU that has been created for this protocol. The second possibility is I choose an existing ECU where everything will be mapped, and the third one is that I import the ECU. So I try to import, and as you have already seen here, I happen to have named my ECU the exact same as the one here. So such errors will be shown, or not errors, it's a conflict. That's a big difference. I'll come to that later on. So now the ECU I want to import has the same name than the one I have already created. So this is not okay. So I can either change my ECU now in the ECU dialog, or I can just change the name of this one, and then there's no problem anymore. And we go to the second step, and here I can select the CAN messages and variables that I want to import, and I can search for pretty much anything. In the bottom it shows me how many CAN messages and variables there are, how many I choose to import, and whether there are any conflicts with variables or CAN messages. So let's, for example, just choose a couple of messages here. And you can see now I have three CAN messages selected, and there are also three variables to be imported. The list in the bottom here shows me the mapped variables of the currently selected mapping. So there seems to be a constant in each of those and a different variable. When I change to the variable view, you can see that a couple of these variables are pre-selected. So when you select a CAN message here, the according variable will be selected for import as well. It's seen here as well, and I cannot deselect, because that doesn't make sense. If I want to import the CAN message, I have to import the variable. I can go here and select a variable just for a variable import, but I cannot import a CAN message without an according variable. So if we choose the LSS serial here, I will just search for serial. There it is, and if I deselect that, then the according CAN message will be deselected as well. So it is not possible to import this without that variable. So I will check this again. And now we have 4 CAN messages, 5 variables, and just to show you another, delete the search, another conflict, I have created a variable called CS in my project. And now you see we have another conflict. And when I click here, it says name of the variable CS already exists in current project, existing variable does not fit to this one. and I can hover here for more information. So the variable in the mapping has a data type unsigned 8, and the existing data type is integer 16, which of course does not match, and so the can message cannot be imported like that. And now I have two possibilities. I can double click here and just change the name to whatever else, then it will be a new variable, and the can message will be created with this new variable name in it. Or I can go to my variable, change the data type to unsigned 8, go back, choose the file again. Okay, this again have to rename, no problem. And now if I select the message, there is no problem anymore. There is an information, and when I click here, variable has already been imported, or existing variable in this project fits to this one. Existing variable will be used. So as I said, we try to make it as robust as possible, so we are checking for everything that will happen, and if there are any conflicts, we will show you. If there are actual errors, this would be something like if you have in the DBC file, let's say a can open message with a node ID, a cop ID higher than 7FF, because this is outside the can open standard, and we will not be able to put such a message in our can open protocol. Then such an error will be shown. There will be a big red X here, and then there is nothing you can do within this dialog. That's the big difference between a conflict and an error. Conflicts will be shown, and you can resolve these conflicts. Often within the dialog, maybe outside. But errors cannot be resolved here. Then you have to go back to vector or a text editor and change the setting. Same with any variable with a length higher than 32-bit. We don't support such variables in the projector except for strings. And let's say you try to import a 64-bit integer variable, there will be such an error icon right here, and it will say so if you select it. And there's nothing you can do about it here. So you cannot change the length of the variable, because who knows what problems this will bring for the according can mapping. So now to the search. We have a couple of filters here. These ones just show the selected can messages or variables. If you click on the other tab, it will show the selected variables. Conflicts only shows conflicts. So this will be interesting if you're trying to import a big amount of can messages and variables. Just show me the conflicts so you can resolve them. Similar for errors, it shows you all the errors, only of course that you cannot resolve them. Then you have to go back into your vector program and resolve the problems there. You can also use regular expressions. So if you know this and know how to use them, you can create very flexible searches here. But even without, there is a tooltip on there is a tooltip here in the search field. So you can just type any text. So let's say force will directly show me this message, but you can also search a little bit more specifically. So you can write hashtag name equals LSS, and this will filter all the can messages or variables. You have to click on the tab that contain that string in the name. You can also combine with others. So let's search for variables with LSS with a length bigger than 8. Not good. Maybe no blank space. There we go. So now we only see variables with 8 and 32, and if I remove the equal, it will filter and show only variables with a length higher than 8 bits. So this is a very great search field. again, if you have a very big DBC file and you're looking for some specific things, you will definitely be able to find what you're looking for here. So now finally, we actually want to import to see how this works. So we just select all the CAN messages. This will of course select all the variables except for CS, which already exists in the protocol. So we have no conflicts, and this is why we can click on finish here. And that was already it. We have imported an ECU. We have imported 33 variables and 34 CAN messages. So if we take a look at our CAN protocol, you can see that we have all these LSS and all the other CAN messages right here. And if we go into one, you can see we have a constant, that this constants will automatically be created with the appropriate value. And here we have the variable. And now if we look into the variable view, you can also see that all the variables are there, everything automatically, and it took not even a second. So you can see this feature works very well. If you have any problems with this DBC import, because it is a very new feature, and as I said, we try to make it as perfect as possible. But still, if you find problems with it and the file was validated in vector and you think there is no problem in this file, please send it to us, please approach us, and we will try to resolve this conflict to help you. So I hope you liked the feature. Oh, there was one thing I didn't mention, I think, in the beginning. This feature has to be bought separately. So this is not included in the projector license. There is an additional license fee for that. So please contact your vendor for information about that. As always, thanks for watching and see you in the next video.